So all these airplanes were modified from American trainers by the movie company 20th Century Fox to make the movie TORA 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 that came out in 1970. And after the movie was made, they sold all the airplanes, and some of them ended up in the Houston area, and that's where our fathers got a hold of them and created this air show routine. And so now, 49 years later, next year will be the 50th anniversary of TORA TORA TORA. We've been doing air shows all over the country. I was 16 when my father started flying this airplane, so I grew up watching all this and finally got to start doing this 18 years ago, my 18th season with the team. So what we do is, it's a living history lesson. There's people that have, of course, they're of the age that they remember Pearl Harbor, but then there's young kids that never heard of Pearl Harbor because I don't think they teach it in school anymore about how the Japanese attacked the United States, because you just stay away from that kind of deal. So kids can come to an air show, and our show has three parts. It's the airplanes, it's the pyrotechnics, and it's our narrator telling the story of December 7th, 1941. And so it is a living history lesson. And then at the same time, our narrator is honoring the veterans and the guys that gave their life that day for the freedoms we enjoy today. And so it's a lot of fun. We get to go all over, and we get to meet a lot of different people. We get to meet older veterans. I've been doing this a while, and so some of the Pearl Harbor survivors were still alive, and there's only a couple left. But their children and grandchildren are carrying on that Pearl Harbor Survivors Association to keep it going. And we have younger pilots coming in, starting to fly with us now, and so they can perpetuate this air show demonstration team into the next 10 or 20 years, and there's no reason this can't go for 70 or 80 years. Airplanes are made of aluminum. If you can keep all the corrosion away from the aluminum, these airplanes will fly forever. Since they are American airplanes, there's plenty of parts for the airframes and the engines. And so if they were really Japanese, we'd be in trouble. And so when 20th Century Fox decided to make the movie, there weren't enough Japanese airplanes to make the movie, and that's why they had to build these out of American trainers. And that is basically it in a nutshell.
I bought from the South African Air Force back in '95.
No way.
So I'm the first and only registered owner of this low mileage little cream puff.
Jeez.
But I went from Dallas, Texas in 1943 to South Africa, and it had been down there as an active trainer until 1995 when I bought it. And they were flying training flights right up until we bought it, which there's a group of us got together and bought 22 of them and brought them, shipped them all over in containers to the U.S. This is one of them that I've left in the South African paint scheme. All that paint, the majority of this paint is still original South African paint even. The only thing I've done is the orange and a little bit of the gray, but all the numbers and all the decals and all that you'll see are in Dutch or Afrikaner, and that's why they're in both English and African, South African.
Yeah.
It's all their original.
That's insane.
Original stuff. But
Where are you from?
From up by east of Chicago, about 100 miles, LaSalle, Peru.
Jeez, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's been a great bird.
Yeah. Wow. T6 G model, built in 1949. Trainer. Last thing. That's one taking off. Yeah. This was the last thing you flew before you got before you got into the big fighters.
Yeah. Everyone says you're not a real pilot until you have some hours in a T6.
T6, yeah, they nicknamed it the pilot maker.
Yeah.
I'm not going to claim that.
Yeah. Wow.
It's been a blast. Very expensive.
Yeah.
Me and the bank have an agreement. As long as I make the payments. You're going to let me keep it.
Hey, you're not wrong. I'm not going to lie. How do you even go about buying a T6? Is it on like military surplus?
You just gotta find one. The expense is all about, you know, how old the restoration is. They range anywhere from, I've seen them as high as 500,000 down to 120.
For the restoration alone?
No, for the cost of the purchase.
Oh, okay.
But of course, the 500,000 one is immaculate. Could win an award.
Yep.
The other one needs a lot of work. So. Just like, I guess, you know, it's kind of like just buying a car. Got to get a loan unless you got a lot of money. So, I had to get a loan.
HAVILLAND CHIPMUNK. It's in Canadian colors, and it's a former Danish Air Force Chipmunk. So it served till 1977, and then it came to the U.S. I got it in 2015. It's based in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Business, right?
Yep. I'm the third generation, and my daughter. We just had my daughter over there. So my wife's bouncing with her right now.
Oh, congratulations!
So we got four generations involved.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty fun. Can't complain about anything.
So you do it all from Florida, right?
Yep. Sebastian, Florida, and we do everything in house. We make every part inside of our shop. We don't outsource anything, which could save us a lot of money, but we don't really care. we want to make sure everything's top notch, so we do it all ourselves.
Can't blame you for that. Wow. This one is super nice. Spacious there.
This guy's leaving today, so we're
Yeah?
trying to figure out how to get him out safely without damaging anything. He's competing for grand champion. So.
Do you produce a lot of the twins, or is this
Right now,
like
it's like 50-50 with the V-twin and the fixed gear XL.
Wow.
People are putting big engines in the fixed gear. We got one coming out of the shop right now with the Thunderbolt Lycoming TIO 540, 370 horsepower, fixed gear.
Wow.
My job is designing wings and fuselage and assembly.
So your team is full of 8 people, right?
Yes,
So who does the production of it?
just 8 people.
Wow.
And
From the welding to the...
yeah, there is part time.
Oh.
Part time, and these production of parts is another company.
Oh, okay.
We ordered and get parts, and we assembly. 8 people.
Up to 200 seaplanes come here at AirVenture. So what the airplanes will do is they'll contact us approach to arrival, and we give them the information that they need. So it's an advisory of wind, water, and weather. In addition, traffic. Once
Okay.
they're on the water, then we manage those airplanes so that they can come into our lagoon based on their needs. If they need fuel or to unload their baggage or passengers, they'll get a dock assignment. And here we have one now leaving the lagoon. And so that management system is out on our point, and they communicate with those pilots. Once they arrive, we have trained dock workers that will catch the airplane, tie it down, help unload, fuel the airplane. They turn it around. We have a unique bridle system that goes on the propellers, how we tie the airplanes to the mooring buoys.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then we have trained boat drivers that take them out to the mooring field and tie the airplanes down. This is 100% volunteer. This particular piece of property is simply dirt for 51 weeks out of the year. We bring it to life 1 week out of the year with volunteers. We have 300 volunteers on our roster, 175 to run the schedule for the week of AirVenture. Memorial Day weekend is when we start to bring the seaplane base alive from the winter. So that's in our springtime, brings us into June, July, so that we can get projects ready for AirVenture Week. Once AirVenture Week comes, about setup weekend, then that's when our core group show up to rig our boats, get the docks ready, put out picnic tables, garbage cans. Over 300 signs have to be placed. So it's really quite a daunting task, as I like to describe it, to get the freight train running down the tracks. Once it is, then we just have to keep it fueled throughout the week, and we deal with the individual problems that might arise throughout the week. But so anyway, with like you said earlier, you don't necessarily have to be a pilot to be enthused.
Right.
I would say the vast majority of our volunteers are not pilots. So that's what we do here. We're just a small facet of aviation, maybe a small area of AirVenture, but certainly, in my opinion, the best. So, but we have getting going.
Is this the only one?
It's the only one.
Wow.
So we just finished the test flying. I got my checkout on it, and then got did 4 hours with the test pilot just for insurance reasons, and then got in it and flew it across from Colorado. We call it the STL.
Okay.
As a light sport. It's light sport capable, and it's a 95% scale reproduction of the Ryan STA. This one is painted to look like a military XPT-20. We improved the structure and the build technique. So on the outside, it looks like a perfect scale replica down to the rivet patterns and lines. And then the inside, very modern techniques to build it. Aluminum spars. I got rid of control cables and have push-pull tubes for the ailerons. We changed the airfoil to expand the CG range to increase it, and we have a very sweet flying airplane here that's about 200 pounds lighter than the original and outperforms the original on a modern engine, the 912 ULA.
You have to be able to start the engine, run the mixture, engine management, etc.
Right.
And once you're good enough to do that, then you'll be flying. You'll do 12 lessons in the front seat. Then they'll put you some hops in the back. Instructor goes up the front and does a bunch of demos. There's more room in the back seats, a little roomier. So if you got it from a transportation perspective, if you're flying by yourself,
I see what you mean, though. It could feel tight, but I mean,
you got all your gear on, your parachute, your vest, etc.
what's the longest you've been in here?
3 hours. That's out of fuel.
Okay.
They made it.